I got something for you, bitch. It's called the Wife Beater Special. That's right, I got my wife beater on for Ilia Topuria. That bitch puts his hands on a woman.
Ilia Topuria's fighting career, it's done. And it's a shame to see it end this way. Everything going on right now outside of his fighting career, personal life, that's big things going on in this man's life. Why would he need to come back? He has all the money in the world, double champion, undefeated.
So I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna let you know that I am expecting sooner or later an accusation to be made about domestic violence.
This story already ended the moment those words left Bryce Mitchell's mouth, because once accusations, rage, and religion collide inside MMA, nobody walks away clean.
Ilia Topuria is currently under scrutiny due to some personal issues. The lightweight champ is reportedly accused of domestic violence, which is possibly the reason behind his divorce. Although Ilia Topuria has rejected all such rumors and claims to be innocent, the fans and MMA pros aren't happy with that situation and want him to be stripped from the lightweight belt. Bryce Mitchell harshly criticized Ilia Topuria in response to rumors of domestic violence, strongly condemning any allegation of a fighter putting their hands on a woman. He said he has no tolerance for that behavior. Mitchell claimed that such actions would have serious consequences where he comes from, and labeled the behavior as disgraceful and cowardly. He said that someone accused of and seek forgiveness.
Well, I got something for you, bitch. It's called the Wife Beater Special. That's right, I got my wife beater on for Ilia Topuria. That bitch puts his hands on a woman. You know, I grew up without a dad. You know, never seen my dad, never will see my dad. And you know what? I'd rather not see my dad than have my dad there beating on my mom. Let me tell you something, what that'll get you killed around these parts, son. That ain't no joke. There ain't nothing funny about it. And I just had to let you know you're a straight up for that. And your brother's a bitch too. I'll fight him. I'll beat his ass. You got lucky I was sick or I'd have beat your ass. And look, you don't deserve to get to see your
harming the mother of their children does not deserve respect, while also framing his comments through his religious beliefs, urging Topuria to repent, change his lifestyle.
Being discussed as a fighter. He's being judged as a man, and that's a fight you can't game plan for.
Mother, you're a coward. That's sickening. But anyways, bro, who am I to judge? I fall short of the glory of God too. Ilia, you need to repent, return to Jesus Christ, and if you repent, you won't rot in hell, bro. But you better really mean it, and you better really repent, and probably stop drinking too. You probably got a drinking problem, man. But return to Jesus Christ, you will be forgiven, and if not, you're gonna rot in hell, bro, because that's where women beaters go. And you know, one more thing for you, Ilia. Wives ain't like belts, okay? It ain't the more the merrier. You're supposed to have one man, one woman, to become one, okay? You're out running around working on your third wife now. Hell, you think they're championship belts and you're trying to get 3 or 4. You're an idiot, dude. You need to take notes from a guy like me. By the way, Arkansanity episode 6 is out right now. It's totally family friendly. You can watch episode 6 with your kids. I don't curse in it or anything like that. Or I don't curse a bunch. But anyways, y'all check.
Joe Rogan also reacts to the situation.
Ilia has flat out rejected every rumor, claiming innocence and warning that accusations were coming regardless. But fans and fighters don't want patience. They want blood, and a loud section of the MMA world is already calling for his belt. Some are saying his career is done, finished, wrapped. Not because of losses, but because the damage outside the cage might be unrecoverable. And when people start saying, why even come back, you know momentum is bleeding out fast.
You hooked up with a guy who's an incredibly special human being, the rarest of rare. You not just UFC world champion, but a 2-division world champion, superstar who the whole world wants to see, and you're his wife. So you're like, oh, look at me, I'm married to the baddest motherfucker alive. And then he doesn't want to be with you anymore. Like, oh, really? Well, I'm gonna fucking take you down. And women, that's what they love, is reputation destruction. That's what they really are experts in when shit goes sideways.
Joe Rogan then tossed gasoline on the fire, shifting blame toward Ilia's wife, arguing that marrying a once-in-a-generation double champ comes with responsibility. And when that relationship collapses, reputation destruction becomes the weapon of... Rogan painted it as a deliberate escalation, not a private breakdown, and that takes split the fan base instantly, because once you frame it as fame versus fallout, nobody agrees on where the line is.
Ilia Topuria has officially walked away from the interim title. If this statement is true, automatically elevates Paddy versus Gaethje to an undisputed belt.
I think it's still the interim championship because I still believe that Ilia is stepping away further now. Ilia said it in that statement. What he has to deal with personally is first, and it's going to be what he takes care of before anything else. And I think that means the championship belt. It feels like he's telling us it's going to be a little longer than people may anticipate before he's back inside the octagon.
Meanwhile, Chael's son and Daniel Cormier couldn't even agree on what Ilia's words actually mean, with Chael reading it as a quiet walk away from the title, while DC pumped the brakes, insisting no belt has officially moved. Cormier pointed out something fans don't like hearing. This isn't the old UFC anymore. Champions don't get to disappear for a year and keep gold. Inactivity today comes with consequences, whether it feels fair or not.
Especially Topuria's family and children.
So that is heavy duty stuff. Obviously we knew that he was going through some personal issues and there's rumors online, and I didn't want to partake in any of those. I had not heard any of this. I had not heard any of these allegations or rumors, innuendo, any of that. And so you can understand even more so why he would want to step away and not focus on fighting or defending his title, because obviously there's a lot going on. It's extremely sad. It's, I feel for everyone involved. I feel for his family. I feel for his kids. It's an awful situation. And so let's see what happens. Let's see what becomes of it, and let's see when we can see him back in there. As of now, there's no real timeline set in.
He said it straight. The runway is shorter now, and Ilia's own comments sound like he's gone longer than people expect, which means the UFC may be forced to make a call sooner than later. Ariel Helwani backed that tone up, calling the situation extremely serious, admitting even he didn't realize how heavy this was behind the scenes, and saying it finally explains
Ilia
why a
Topuria's
champion would
wife,
step
arguing
away
that being
mid-prime.
married to a rare, largely unnoticed.
If it's true, he's a piece of shit. You can't be doing that. No excuses. Do I think there would be more to... I think there would be more of a direct accusation than an Instagram story. You know? I think there would be more of the he did this and he did that and this happened and that happened, and there'd be stories being said and there'd be some level of evidence and there'd be some maybe police involvement in a situation, and I don't know, but I feel like this is the fact that we've heard from Ilia about this first beyond her Instagram story. It's interesting that if not for this statement from Ilia, this would have really flown under the radar, and if something that serious happened, would it just fly under the radar and go to court and get resolved there? Or would there be more emotions flying from both parties? I'm not sure.
Globally admired two-division UFC champion comes with responsibility. He frames the situation as a partner benefiting from the fighter's status and fame, then reacting destructively when the relationship deteriorates. Rogan characterizes this response as an attempt to damage reputation once things go wrong, portraying it as a deliberate and harmful escalation rather than a private dispute.
What comes of this in the UFC? Does he get vacated? Does he give up the title and fight for it when he comes back? I don't know. I don't know what to do with this. This hurts. One of the best fighters that we've got in the UFC, one of the most entertaining guys, just from a fan's perspective of the sport. Of course, if he did this, he deserves to be out of the sport, but I haven't heard anything from the other side of the story at all. Other than some Instagram stories that were vaguely posted, and then of course the actual thing that we're going to court for in the first place. So does this mean that we're not going to see him come back anytime soon? This hurts. I wanted to see an active Ilia Topuria in 2026, and now we don't know.
Helwani stressed how sad this is, especially for the kids involved, and when respected voices stop speculating and start sympathizing. You know this isn't normal MMA drama. MMA Guru then came in, ruthless but logical, saying if the allegations are true, then Ilia deserves every ounce of criticism, but also questioning why something this serious surfaced through vague social media He pointed out that without Ilia speaking first, this may have flown under the radar entirely.
Chael Sonnen and Daniel Cormier offered contrasting takes on Ilia Topuria's comments, with Sonnen interpreting them as a sign that Topuria may have effectively stepped away from the title, saying you are unavailable should not be enough.
The interim belt is for those that are dealing with an illness or an injury. If we would like to show grace to an undisputed champion because he's missing matches specifically for illness or injury, and the moment Ilia informs us that he is missing matches for anything outside of the criteria of illness or injury, that's why you strip him. That there is no precedence for an interim championship. And I had never thought of that, and I thought it was very cold. I didn't like it. I got in my car, I went back to my hotel, I'm staying by myself, and I thought about it. And I go, man, there's actually a point to that. If Ilia is missing matches, and all he's got to do is make the claim. He doesn't have to be telling the truth. A lot of guys didn't tell the truth. A lot of guys have missed fights and said they're hurt because they didn't want to make the walk.
Title picture,
the result is
which in his
uncertainty
view
everywhere.
would elevate the interim fight to an undisputed championship.
At the same time,
Cormier clarified that no belt has been vacated. The bout remains an interim title fight, stressing that Topuria is simply prioritizing serious personal matters and signaling a longer than expected absence rather than formally walking away from the championship.
Chael Sonnen then delivered the coldest take of all, saying interim belts are only for injury or illness, and the moment a champ misses fights for anything else, the belt should be stripped.
But if you're making a claim outside of illness or injury, to my understanding, the person at the UFC is correct. You're not eligible. You got to be stripped. I think that is a fair point. I don't want him stripped. I'm on Ilia's side of this. I don't really like what he's going through. I think he's shared more with us than he has to. I also think he's innocent. He seems like a good guy. I really don't think that he would have done these things. However, yeah, they got to strip him. If he's not making the claim that he's injured and has some kind of a doctor report to back it up, as bogus as those can be, he's got to be stripped.
Chael admitted he hated the idea at first, but the more he thought about it, the more it made brutal sense, because fighters have lied before, and availability can't be based on trust alone. Even while siding personally with Ilia, Chael still said the belt has to go unless there's an injury claim with paperwork, because the UFC can't protect gold
Daniel
on
Cormier
sympathy.
thinks that a decision on Ilia Topuria's status
on the
as
other side of the
UFC lightweight
chaos,
champion
Patty
could come
Pimblett
soon.
shocked
He explains
everyone by
that
showing
unlike the
support for
past when
Ilia's
interim
family
champions like
situation,
Cain
while still
Velasquez
making
could
it
wait over
crystal
a year
clear
to
that
face
if he
the
wins the
undisputed
belt,
champ,
interim or
today's
not,
standards
he
don't allow
considers
for
himself
extended
the real
inactivity
champ.
while retaining, regardless of whether it is labeled interim.
Obviously, me and Ilia mightn't like each other, lads, but I wish him nothing but the best with all his family. It's nothing to do with fighting. But when I win this belt, I'm the champ for now. I don't care if it says interim on it. I'm the champ. He's out the cage. I'm the fucking champ.
I was just going to ask you that because you were on our Full Send podcast a little while ago, and you almost like made this whole thing happen because you were like, no, I don't want Ilia to win the title. And you were like, I want my first UFC lightweight title defense to be against Ilia Topuria. So the way things have panned out, you're viewing this fight against Justin Gaethje as the actual UFC lightweight title.
Yeah, that's it. Because that's the belt what's in front of me, you know what I mean? I'm not going to do a Justin and throw it on the floor and say I'm waiting for the real one. This is the real one. While Ilia's out of the cage, this is the real belt. And I'm coming to take it on with me. That's coming back to Liverpool, lad. It's as simple as that.
¿Sientes que ha cambiado algo? ¿Sientes que a lo mejor va a bajar un poquito esa intensidad de la rivalidad que ustedes tienen en los siguientes meses?
Para nada, para nada. Yo siempre, es que siempre que me han hablado sobre Paddy, siempre dije que a mí me parecía un tipo súper entretenido, que hacía su trabajo súper bien. Lo veía una persona que, bueno, tuvo su resbalón ahí, que se equivocó con un tuit que hizo sobre Georgia, pero yo creo que siempre aprendemos de nuestros errores. La vida está llena de experiencias. Él ha aprendido, pero en el fondo le noto que es una persona que entiende los problemas familiares, los problemas personales, los respeta, y después lo que va a pasar en el octógono, que creo que es algo que realmente lo que le emociona a todo el mundo, ¿no? Y lo que todo el mundo quiere ver, porque una cosa no tiene que ver con la otra, ¿no? Mis problemas personales y mi vida personal con mi vida profesional, y al final nosotros somos unos profesionales, vamos a tener un enfrentamiento profesional y yo creo que va a ser muy divertido en todo el mundo. Para todo el mundo.
Daniel Cormier said, there used to be a time where an interim champion could be crowned, and it may be a year before they fight the actual champion. Cain Velasquez was an interim champion for like a year and a half. There was leniency for how much time you could spend away and still hold on to the championship. I don't believe that's the case today. I don't know that we have the runway to be as inactive and stay champion as we did before. Daniel Cormier observes that Ilia Topuria's comments